Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Mountain Harmony Gardening. I'm Kristen, and today we are going to be maintaining our vertical gardens. The first garden bed that we're going to be maintaining today is the pumpkin bed. And you can see here that they are starting to really grow, and I've had some questions on this. So I'm going to give you a close-up on exactly how I maintain this, hopefully without breaking off the tips. I know you probably can't see me very well, but I have you set up in the garden bed, and I want you to be able to see the pumpkin vine better than me so that I can give you a kind of close-up to show you what I do. I've been getting some questions on this, like how do you train them through? What happens if the tip breaks off? Well, I have broken the tips off before, and I've let this one go just a little bit to kind of show you what I have to do if we've been gone for a little while and they get out of hand. And also when you want to actually kind of weave it in and out of the trellis. So this one has grown a lot. Luckily, they do a pretty good job of supporting themselves, but right here, I'm going to have to thread this leaf through. Luckily, it's still pretty young, but I want to pull it back this way because I actually want this pumpkin vine on this side of the trellis so it can go up and over. And I use the tomato clips to do this, to kind of help support it. So what I'm going to do is I want to work with the tip right here where it's a little bit more flexible. The further you go down the stem, it gets a little bit more woody. So I'm just going to feed this back through, and I want to get this as close to the wiring on the trellis as possible so that I can kind of put in a clip. And if you can do it at one of these little cross braces, like right here, and clip it on here instead of in the middle, it has a tendency to hold on a little bit better, because if it's here, it can have a tendency to move around a little bit, and we don't want that. And so I didn't break the tip, and I want to go ahead and I want to clip this one, like this one, I can get to right about here, and I'm going to put another one in. That way it starts to train itself to grow on this side. And I will be doing the exact same thing with the other one. And the spaghetti squash are way behind on the pumpkins. I'm not sure if I'm going to get any this year, but I always get plenty of pumpkins, so that's okay. So now I'm just going to keep training this so that it goes up and over, and just come out here every single day, because this is at the stage where they're growing really fast, just to keep up on it. I'm going to give you a close-up shot of what I did so that you can see it a little bit closer. You can see how I put the clips at the diagonals. I did it right there. And you can see the other pumpkin plant. Sorry, it's a little windy out here this morning, but at least it's cool. And I did that one as well. Now you can see the structure down here below. Now you want to make sure that you're following the vine all the way up, because sometimes they'll branch off in two, and you want to make sure that all of them are being fed through, and then all of them are going up and eventually over, and that they're clipped on where they need to be. Probably can't see me well in this shot either, but now it's time to talk tomatoes. Now this is one of the new ones I'm trying, and it's the Kellogg's Breakfast Tomato. And because it's a larger tomato, I actually do not want it to split in two like this one did. So I'm going to have to take one of these out. So I'm going to do that right there, and it's just pretty much a sucker that got too large. Let's see if I can get back through the trellis here. There we go. Okay, and there's a sucker down here that I want to take off too. Now, these are different than cherry tomatoes. So with cherry tomatoes, you actually can let the suckers go. And usually I do that once they're about this tall, then I'll start to let them branch out. This one over here is a black cherry tomato, and you can see that this one has also split in two, and that's fine. Cherry tomatoes are one of the tomatoes that you can let do that, and also the spoon tomatoes that I'm growing too. So I'm just going to trim this up. I'm going to make sure I'm taking out all the suckers. There's another one. And I actually want to pull this back through right here, because I actually want it to grow on this side of the trellis. And that looks a little bit better, but this one doesn't need a clip yet. I think it's doing okay. And look, it's starting to get some flowers too. So let's go ahead and make sure that you go to each one of the leaf stems here, and you want to make sure that you pruning out all the suckers. And also like on here, on this cherry tomato, since it is a little bit lower, I will take out the bottom suckers, but I also want to keep pruning off all of the leaves at the bottom because you actually do not want them touching the soil, like I said in one of my last videos. But that is all I'm going to do to the cherry tomato. And this one I think probably needs a few more clips. And now I'm looking around where I set my bucket. Be right back because I left it over by the pumpkins. Okay, now I have my tomato clips. And same thing, if you can get it next to one of these little joints, go ahead and then just clip it on. And this one's not too bad yet, but I want to go ahead and clip it on just to make sure that it has support. Since these don't grow tendrils like the pumpkins do, you got to give them a few more clips. And I end up going through this whole bucket by the end of the season. Luckily, I bought some more. So that's all I'm going to do to the tomatoes for now. And just come out here every day and make sure that they need a little extra support, put some support on them. Make sure that you're taking out all of the suckers on your larger tomatoes. Leave them on the cherries once they're about this high and on your spoon tomatoes. I'm going to give you a close-up now that I've got everything all cleaned up. You can see what I've done to the plants. This one is a Kellogg, so I've got trained to 1. This one is a black cherry tomato, so I have it trained to 2. And this one over here is our spoon tomato. And I really don't do a whole lot to it. I just let it go. I just kind of trim it off at the sides if it's starting to like grow into the path where I walk in. But that's it. That's how I take care of growing my tomatoes vertically. Next, we're going to work on the cucumbers and melons. It's really tight quarters inside of this trellis, but it works. Okay, so I have already started on this a little while ago, but I want to show you that cucumbers are pretty much the same way. You just clip them on. But with them, and like the pumpkins, the only thing you ever really trim are their leaves. And some of these are melons too, like I think this one is a melon. I left their cups on, where I took the cups off of everything else, because it was actually giving them a little bit of support. And like for this one, I've just been kind of like twisting it back in, and it seems to be doing okay. But wherever I can, I'm just clipping them on. And I'm thinking about making a change to this trellis probably next year, where it's, as you can see, some of the plants don't reach the trellis right away, and they're a little bit harder to work with, and trying to keep them steady. So I'm thinking I might have to change this up just a tiny bit next year to make this work a little bit better. But this is all I'm doing, is clipping them up. So I'll be right back after that's done. I have all of the cucumbers and the rich sweetness melons all attached. And I actually took the cup off of that one because there were so many of them growing in there that I needed to trim them out. But that looks so much better. And this is the tomatillo that I'm growing in the cage back here. It's the only one that I have in a cage, and well, it's in this area. The other ones are on the other side. And this was a volunteer that comes back every year, and it's huge, but it's starting to grow out of its cage. So what I want to do is I want to feed some of these back through, and the rest I'm just going to trim off. Like this one, probably I'll trim off because I do want to keep this a little bit more compact because I do not want it shading out the cucumbers. And there are socks in the background. She's out here with me gardening. She loves it. Next, we'll be talking about the zucchinis. First, I want to give you a close-up of what I've been doing. If you take a look down in there, you can see that I've been tying this one up, but it's starting to fall over, so it actually needs to be tied up again. And I'll give you a close-up when I'm doing that. Here is another one. You can see that I have been tying up, and this one's doing pretty good, but some of the leaves are starting to come out into the peppers, and I need to trim them up. This one's doing really good. And these two, they're kind of small, but that's okay. You know how it is with zucchinis, you end up with a ton of them. So I'm going to give you a close-up of how I trim them and how I get them to grow vertical. The first thing that I need to do is I need to trim out all of the leaves towards the bottom that are also growing out into the other plants. And as they grow up, I trim them off anyways because it's easier for me to attach them to their stakes. And look at that. There's a little baby zucchini on there already. There's some on the other ones too. And if they're kind of in the way, like this one's kind of pointing backwards, I'm going to trim that off too. So that makes it a little bit easier for me to kind of start pulling this back up. You could see that how heavy it got, how much this one stretched. So that's why you need to come out here every so often and tie them back up. And you want to get this stretchy kind of plastic green tape. You want to make sure that you have plenty of it to work with. Give it a good stretch. And then you just want to gently pull this back up. Try not to get any of the leaves or the flowers. You might have to thread this through a little bit. And then you just want to tie it on pretty tight because like I said, it stretches. And I know this kind of looks a little bit funny at the moment, but they write themselves up by the next day. Look at that zucchini. Doesn't that look beautiful? We've got another flower here, and that's a male flower. And now I will do the rest of them, and I will be right back. Sorry about the wind, everybody. Hopefully it's not coming through the audio too terribly loud. I have all of the zucchini trimmed up. And I'm really enjoying this method of growing the zucchini because once you trim off the bottom leaves and you get them growing vertical, you can see the zucchinis way easier and it looks so much better. And now all the pepper plants also have some sunshine too, but every single one of them except for the two small ones have zucchinis on them in different stages. So there's this one too. So I'm really enjoying this method a lot and I highly, highly recommend it. Now I want to show you some of the other plants that I'm not growing vertically, just to kind of give you an idea of the difference. So these are my kajaris and my watermelon. Yes, I still have the cups over them, but they're doing okay. Look at that one. That one's doing really good over there. That's a kajari. And pretty soon they will be growing all over the place. You can see that this one's already starting to touch the ground. And back here at the pumpkin bed, I want to show you the other melons I have growing. They're not growing over the trellis. These ones I'm going to let kind of grow down that way. I need to get it all cleaned up. But all I'm doing for those is I'm just training them this direction to make sure that they all grow this way, or even the ones on the end, I could grow down that way too. So there's another look at the vertical garden beds. Well, I hope this inspired you to grow your garden vertical as much as possible. It really is worth it. It saves a lot of space and you can also see the plants better. So thanks for watching, everyone. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment. Those things really help our channel grow, and we have over 800 subscribers now. That's amazing. Welcome to all of our new subscribers. So happy gardening, everyone.